Hey guys, welcome back to Musings of Mavry. I'm your host Mavry, and I am back. So this episode of Tensura was a bit delayed since I was celebrating Lunar New Year's with my parents, and since my recording equipment at that time was not up to par, I decided to postpone this episode for a few days. So it would be better for both you guys and for me as well, since I don't want to sully my channel with subpar recordings. But anyways, I'm back and I'm ready for some Tensura. So, last episode, we got a few different developments, right? And so the plot can pretty much go into a few different areas. One part is we finally got some contact with the human kingdoms, right? There was the two closest kingdoms to the Jura Forest sent investigation parties. So one was essentially Rimuru's old friend, so I'm assuming that one they will form an alliance, no problem. The other side was Yuum, this new character, who apparently is going to be a sort of champion of Tensura. I mean, not Tensura, sorry, of Rimuru. Not quite sure if they're going to give any further explanation. I feel like the last episode it came like completely out of the blue. Not really sure what happened there. They probably cut it out. So maybe we'll get a little bit more explanation here. And the second part would be sort of like the Demon Lord route, right? So we know that Clayman is, he's meh towards Rimuru right now. He doesn't consider him to be a potential threat yet. There's something more interesting in regards to another monster, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And the only other Demon Lord that Rimuru actually has any connection with right now would be Carrion, his minions, right? They decide to come to Rimuru's town and pissed off Milim, and so Milim basically gave them a whooping. There might be something happening there as well. Maybe Carrion is going to be the first official Demon Lord enemy of Rimuru. And then also in regards to the monster, we got this, I guess, Charybdis dude, right? Of Greek mythology, of Homer's Odyssey. I somehow doubt that it's going to have anything to do with the Greek mythology Charybdis, which was essentially a whirlpool. But we shall see. It's mentioned in the episode that this monster is about on the level of power of a demon lord. So I believe I mentioned this last episode as well. We know that Rimuru is eventually going to come into conflict with demon lords, right? And he's right now not up to par yet. So one thing I'm interested in is how Rimuru is going to continue to level up and power up. And so I'm actually thinking that probably this Charybdis monster is going to be the method in which Rimuru eventually powers up, maybe by eating this monster and then gaining equal power to demon lords, and so they would be at the same level, then they can have a proper conflict. But in any case, let's find out within this episode right now. So I skipped the opening and let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Boom. That was a nice scene. Oh, we are starting with Carrion's minions. Alright. Well, he's a demon lord and you're not. Mm-hmm. Eurazania. Hmm. Okay, so you do know where you were wrong. Are you sure that's the method in which you won't cause trouble to your master? You're not a demon lord! Oh, it's Grayman's lackeys? The clowns? I believe they call themselves the Clown Federation or something? Yeah, footmen. Oh, I mean Harlequin. Harlequin, not clown. Harlequins. Yeah. Tier and footman. Hmm. Yeah, you're not... Is it just me, or is... Like, I don't think there's any shame losing to a demon lord. Karibudis. Karibudis. Yeah, I need to use the Japanese pronunciation. Karibudis. Isn't this a little bit too suspicious? Somehow this reminds me of Gabiru. Is this like Gabiru number 2? You know, loved by his men, easily manipulated, wants power. That kinda makes sense. Don't you think it's a little bit convenient? I wonder if there's like some other backstory between him and Milim? Or is it really just that one punch? This somehow I really don't think this makes sense. You're supposed to be of less power than a demon lord, right? I mean, I'm assuming that the hierarchy within monsters should be pretty set in stone. Like, normally I'm using some concepts from other light novels or similar works, but normally they have very strict hierarchies. Like, as a subordinate of a demon lord, he shouldn't even have been speaking with Milim uh, on the same level, right? More fan service? I'm pretty sure you lost, Milim. They're just having a vacation? By the way, don't swim in onsens, please. Hmm. Hmm. Does this benefit him? Or his country? I guess maybe. If his purpose is to forge a legitimate alliance with Rimuru, then helping establish Rimuru's legitimacy with the other human kingdoms would also make sense. Oh. Going to start some actual trade now. Okay. Spiritual life form. It's gonna possess him? Physical vessel. Is this sort of like the fire spirit and Shizue? Or Shizu? Hmm. This is some B tier acting. And this guy fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Yeah, this probably isn't gonna end well. For that dude, anyways. Come to think of it, isn't this how Clayman has basically did all his biddings, you know, manipulating all the different people. It's preying on these simple-minded, easily manipulated monsters, or probably not monsters. Majin? Probably not Majin. You guys know what I mean. Ooh, that's nice. They all basically reacted at the same time. Toraya. Calamity class monster. I remember Veldora was Catastrophe class, right? And this is Calamity class. I'm assuming it's a little bit lower than Catastrophe class. So this means Veldora's power is actually even higher than that of Demon Lords. Ruler of the skies? Alright. So yeah, definitely not like Homer's Odyssey's Charybdis at all. The child of Veldora? Hmm. Megalodons? Wait. Ruler of the skies and Megalodons? Flying sharks? What? My reaction exactly. Oh? Wait. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about the Megalodon part because I think it's ridiculous. Oh? It's gonna be a joint effort? Alright. Still though. The original Carbides. Actually, let me talk about that in the review part. He used to be a human. Oh. Just say that? Alright. Has he actually told this to his subordinates before? I think this is his first mention of this. Hmm. Seriously? Flying shark? I'm sorry, if I'm supposed to feel intimidated by this, I feel like it's ridiculous. Ugh. I'll see you guys after the ending. Alrighty, that was episode 18 of Tensura, and sorry if I couldn't keep a straight face in the closing moments of this episode because I honestly thought this whole concept of Carbutus was ridiculous, which I'll talk about afterwards. There's actually 3 main topics I want to talk about for this episode. Number 1 is Phobio. So, as I mentioned during the episode, I don't really quite get what his problem is. Like, I guess they're sort of, making him out to be this hot-blooded, hot-headed, easily manipulated character, right? But honestly, I don't really see the problem of him being humiliated by Milim, because, as I was mentioning within the episode, you're not exactly on the same level, right? At least for most other works that I know of, and even in this work as well, there seems to be a very clear, standing or hierarchy between the different levels of monsters, right? So, like for instance, Phobio himself thinks of orcs and slimes and whatnot as lowly monsters, right? Well, by the same thought process, demon lords should theoretically be at the highest level for these monsters. Again, I'm still not quite sure if it's probably a title, right? So acquiring this demon lord title, there shouldn't be much that's higher than that. So it'd be similar to, like, say for instance, a king, right? So if you were being, I guess, humiliated by a king of a neighboring country, right? And if the country is actually on equal standing to you, there's really not much you can do. You're just a normal dude. You might have a position in high court or something, but the other guy's a king, right? So there's not really much you can do. The best you can do is escalate to your own king and then have him handle the matters on, because they are peers of equal standing. A similar concept would be applied to the real world as well. If you were slighted by, say for instance, the manager or the department head of another department or division, not of yourself, but he has clear seniority over you, you don't confront him by yourself, right? You escalate to your own superiors, and if they are a good leader or doing a good job of managing, they are the ones that are supposed to handle the situation for you, right? They should be the ones that get your back. You don't just take this directly to someone who's superior than who's senior in level to you, right? It doesn't work that way. So, not really sure what Phobio's problem is here. I guess he just can't. Again, I feel like this is. He keeps on saying that he doesn't want to mess up his relations or cause trouble for Carrion, but somehow I think that him trying to do this, this revenge by himself is probably going to cause Carrion more trouble in the long run, right? And speaking of which, so Clayman, he seems to be the one who's behind all this manipulation. He was the one who first went around sending subordinates to name the goblins, and then he was the one behind the orcs, and now he's also the one behind Phobio inheriting Carbidus's power, right? So definitely still quite curious what exactly his goal is here. Is he simply bored and wants to find some fun? Last episode I was under the impression that he wanted to actually gain a weapon that was of equal power to a demon lord under his command. He wanted to take this power for himself. I mean, not for himself literally, but as part of something that he could command, right, under his flag. Right now, it seems, though, that, just sending Phobio to, and then saying that, okay, he should just go get Milim, doesn't quite seem to accomplish that purpose, right? It's like, what is he trying, what is the best case scenario here? Is he trying to maybe force Milim to exert herself, and in a weakened state, then he has the ability to take over her territories or something? But again, I think Clayman should know that Carbidus is probably not on Milim's power level, right? So, not quite sure what exactly the plan is here. Again, I personally thought that he would have tried to, just take this power and sort of make it as one of his secret weapons, right? But apparently not. So, oh well. And the second part I want to talk about is in regards to Fuse, or is it Fuse? Fuse, yeah, probably Fuse. And also the Kingdom of Bluemund. So, Rimuru mentioned that he wants to build roads to Bluemund in order to facilitate trade, and yeah, it makes sense, right? Bluemund is directly a direct neighbor to the Tempest Federation, and it also acts as a gateway to the other human kingdoms in the west, so that makes perfect sense. At the same time, though, especially in sort of like medieval fantasy settings like this one, Roads actually have a pretty big strategic importance, right? It can not only be used for trade, but it's also a way to quickly move troops as well. Not every yeah, this is fantasy, but not every race and not every kingdom has the ability to transport through air, right? Or I'm not sure if there's like mass teleportation or something, but it seems that from what I've seen so far, most of the movement is still on foot. And having roads gives a huge strategic advantage to deploying and rapidly moving troops. So I'm actually wondering if this is going to come into play later, right? Either somebody wants to seize these roads as a means to quickly transport troops, or if it causes some misunderstanding on on the side of maybe one of the human kingdoms or something. But or it could just be very simplistically a trade road, right? That's also possible, and I might be thinking too much into it, but definitely I think it's something that's nice to keep in the back of your mind. And finally, Carbutus. So this Calamity class, again, even though we don't specifically know the class structure of monsters, I'm going to assume that a Calamity is probably weaker than a Catastrophe level monster, right? And since it is said that he is born from magicals that Veldora put out, it would make sense that he's not on the same level of Veldora, right? So, by the same token, Veldora is actually a force greater than Demon Lords. So, also, in terms of his lore or his story, and the original Carbutus in Greek mythology, in Homer's Odyssey, was a sea monster, right? A monster of the seas, which was later known to be identified as basically a whirlpool, right? So it's more like metaphor for whirlpools, if you will. In the very last title screen, where they showed Carbutus again, they sort of had a name, title, something of another to him. It wasn't translated, and it's hard to translate properly, but it basically is a combination of storm, whirlpool, and monster. So it seems that even though they are trying to make him ruler of the skies and descendant of Veldora, so he has the storm part to him, they also keep parts of his legend, so they keep the whirlpool monster of him as well. Now, as for his actual concept, I gotta say it's ridiculous. Now, the whole time I was smirking, because once I heard whirlpool, flying monster, and sharks, I immediately thought of a series called Sharknado. So I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with this. It's basically a C tier movie, I guess. It's absolutely. First of all, I don't recommend you to watch it. I haven't watched it myself. I've only seen some clips of it because it's just so ridiculous, right? It's basically a meme. But apparently 6 movies were made from the same concept. It's basically, as the name implies, sharks in a tornado. Yeah. And, seeing flying megalodons here, I just couldn't help but think of the same thing. So, especially since they are seemingly going to keep the whirlpool concept. You can think of a whirlpool as basically also a tornado in the air, right? So, tornado in the air, megalodons, sharks, Sharknado. I hope some people out there can get this reference. So yeah, that's why I was kind of having this incredulous look the whole time. It just seems so stupid to me, and apparently Rimuru thinks the same as well. To him, it's a kind of joke, right? But on a more serious note, right? We did get the information that Rimuru should prepare by trying to get a flying combat force. Well, I think from what we've seen so far, Rimuru doesn't exactly have the necessary tools, monsters, equipment, blah blah blah, to make that kind of flying force. Maybe Vesta can cook up something. I highly doubt it. Right now, it seems that the only sure being to fly in Rimuru's out of Rimuru's combatants or subordinates, companions, whatnot, is Rimuru himself. So I actually thought it was pretty smart of him to include Dorgon in this conflict as well, because if you guys remember back a few episodes ago, they had Pegasus Knights, right? So now they actually have a flying force that's able to do combat in the air. So nice little touch there, and I'm assuming that that's probably what's going to happen. Rimuru is going to take advantage of these Pegasus Knights of Dorgon to be able to combat Carubudus in the air, in the sky. And probably, as I've been touting for the past few episodes, Rimuru is going to end up eating Carubudus, and that is how he is going to acquire the power level equal to that of a Demon Lord. And because of this, I'm actually kind of assuming that this season is going to end with a showdown between Rimuru and one of the Demon Lords, because there's still 5-6 episodes left. I don't think they're going to stretch out this Carubudus arc that long. I might be wrong, but I think it's probably going to be resolved in the next 1 or 2 episodes. So there's that, and that answers. Is he going to actually consult Veldora about this? You know, I actually kind of want to hear from Veldora again. It's been quite a while. But, nah. If Rimuru was smart, he would probably consult Veldora first in regards to Carubudus, right? But, yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So, one final closing side thought, I guess, would be Rimuru revealing his true identity to the humans in this episode. I made the comment that I'm not sure if he actually mentioned this to his other companions yet. And I guess it would kind of make sense if he doesn't, right? The other monsters view him as a monster as well. And maybe there would be some sort of paradigm change if they knew he was actually a human. Probably not, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious if this is going to result in a problem in the future, right? Just a side note, I thought it was pretty interesting how he never mentioned his identity up until this episode. So, yeah, that about concludes my thoughts for this episode. Not actually that much to talk about. We probably need to actually get into the fight or the preparation for the fight before we have a little bit more things to comment on. But as for right now, yeah, it's hard for me to take this threat seriously. Come on, a flying shark? Well, in any case, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. So, bye-bye.